you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to understand and impossible to finish?
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all the legal codices.
You memorized them?
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's bread and butter, you know? Oh, this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like reading things.
Again, with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for Singsi.
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened? Did the client from last time,
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just here to ask you a few questions. Has a merchant by the name of Crossel asked you to put him in contact with a jewelsmith recently?
Krosel? Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yeah, he came to me with a chunk of something he called Smaragdus Jadeite. The design of the hairpins that he gave me was quite intricate, so it took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found an older jewelsmith who made them exactly according to his specifications. This order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is why I remember it so well.
Doesn't seem like there's any evidence to be found here.
Miss Singsi, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossel commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that the material he presented to you that day was called Smaragdus Jadeite?
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so we had to put this transaction on record with the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Mr. Krosel wasn't very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also kept a copy for my own records. See for yourself, the item is called Smaragdus Jadeite Twin Phoenix Pins. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the ministry on it.
Thank you, Singsi. Now, could you let me borrow this document?
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway. I take it then that there's been some more trouble?
Nothing you need to worry about, just a minor issue. I'll return your document as soon as I'm done with it. Thanks again.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need. We just need to make one last trip. Let's go to Boo Boo Pharmacy to speak with Dr. Baiju.
The weirdo with the snake around his neck? What do you want to speak to him for?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to the human body. Once we have this final piece of evidence in our hands, we can wrap this case up.
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs. And if it isn't Miss Yanfei as well, now that's an even rarer honor. What business brings you here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the 7 Mountain Treatises. The 7 Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality and their illness will only ever get worse. Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to chit-chat. Knowing you, Yanfei, and given the specific nature of your question, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of Smaragdus Jadeite?
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a moment. I would mention, though, that you are not the only one who's developed a curiosity for Smaragdus Jadeite recently. A Snezhnayan merchant came to ask me about it not long ago. But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted to one of remarkable disappointment. I wonder, Miss Yanfei, if your pressing business might be related to this Snezhnayan merchant?
You needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document. I'll make sure to compensate you in due course.
You're too kind. Take care now.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever. Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Dr. Baiju's always been like that. Well, we have the evidence we need. Let's go find Mr. Crossell.
Take care now, everyone.
My friend, what can I get you?
Miss Yanfei, have you finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a final figure for the amount payable.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors, Miss Yanfei?
Of course. According to the stipulations of the contract, Mr. Crossell, you must pay Ms. Zerchow 10 times the original transaction price in Mora.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of mistake, Miss Yanfei.
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus Jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus Jadeite twin phoenix pins that you rented out to Ms. Zerchow was, in fact, Smaragdus Nephrite. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly, you are liable for this sum, which is payable to Ms. Zerchow in Mora.
Material evidence? What material evidence? Why, Miss Yanfei, you cannot frame me like this. I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus Jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow fake? I demand to see your evidence.
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, Please produce the evidence in question. If we want to determine whether the ore is genuine, we need to start with evidence from the Jade Mystery. Clearly, you still have a few things to learn about this aspect of legal proceedings. This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner, Chateau.
Seriously? Even the boss there couldn't differentiate between Smaragdus Jadeite and Smaragdus Nephrite. How does this prove anything? In any case, Smaragdus Nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus Jadeite. So I had him cut away the Nephrite, he returned the valuable Jadeite core to me, and some Nephrite samples remain in the store. What am I missing exactly?
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And we are here to talk about evidence, aren't we?
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all. Seems like he came prepared. What should we do next?
Hard evidence, something legally binding. We have just the thing. Show him, Traveler.
This document proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the Ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the ore inlaid on the pins is indeed Smaragdus Jadeite.
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting more belligerent by the second.
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins are the real deal after all.
Of course I'm right. All the evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one final piece of evidence that we haven't revealed yet. Traveler, would you do the honors? This shall serve as decisive proof of our case.
What's this?
Smaragdus Jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. Sustained contact with Smaragdus Jadeite over a prolonged period will, in less serious cases, cause a mild malady, while in serious cases, the patient may suffer a dramatic change of personality and fall seriously ill. Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties of Smaragdus Jadeite?
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But for you to have rented out such a dangerous item... I'm afraid that this falls outside the scope of my work, but within that of the Ministry of Civil Affairs. However, I'm sure that the Ministry will be relatively lenient considering that, as you say, you were ignorant of the danger you posed. Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here will be handed over to the Ministry. I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait! I knew.
Oh, so you knew? Oh, dear Mr. Crossell. But if you knew of Smaragdus Jadeite's dangerous properties beforehand, why would you...
Huh? No, The hairpins aren't actually
inlaid with genuine Smaragdus Jadeite? Is that what you were about to say? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Ms. Zerchow 10 times the original price in Mora? Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
He's seriously intimidating right now. It's like she's a different person.
I admit it. I confess. The ore I had inlaid on those hairpins was Smaragdus Nephrite. But I'm a victim in all of this too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring that small amount of Smaragdus Jadeite in the hopes of turning it into a piece of jewelry that would fetch a fine price. But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme discomfort. I couldn't sleep a wink.